Few historical events capture the imagination like the Crusades. A series of religious wars that brought East and West into dramatic collision. Sir Steven Runciman's three-volume work is the definitive guide to this era. More than battles, Runciman's narrative brings a lost world to life. Published in the 1950s, his trilogy was groundbreaking for scholars and readers. Runciman's elegant prose makes the Crusades accessible and compelling. He weaves together Christian and Muslim sources, exploring diverse motivations. Runciman offered a unique perspective, sympathetic to Byzantium and the Islamic world. He portrayed the Crusades as tragic misunderstandings and brutal invasions. This was revolutionary for its time. Today, Runciman's trilogy remains a cornerstone of Crusade studies. His work endures for its grand narrative and profound humanism. Runciman reminds us that history is about people, their faith, greed, courage, and folly. His epic story continues to teach us about our own world. The Crusades in Runciman's telling are a mirror for our times. His work invites us to see the complexity of human motives. Runciman's legacy is a history about understanding ourselves in the past. His trilogy stands as a testament to the enduring power of narrative history. Through his eyes, the Crusades become a cautionary tale of ambition, faith, and tragedy. Runciman's masterpiece continues to inspire and challenge readers today. Runciman's genius lies in how he structured his massive history, 3 volumes, each with its own focus and arc. The first sets the stage with explosive energy and violence. Runciman explores the political and religious climate of the 11th century, then follows the Crusaders' journey from Pope Urban II's call to the bloody conquest of Jerusalem in 1099. The second volume shifts to the challenges of settlement and governance. Here, Runciman details the creation of a unique society, a blend of Western feudalism and Eastern customs. He examines the military orders, the fragile stability, and the complex relationships between Franks, native Christians, and Muslims. The narrative builds toward the rise of Muslim resistance, the failure of the Second Crusade, and the legendary Saladin's triumph at Hattin and recapture of Jerusalem. Each volume is a story of rise and fall, told with a sense of impending tragedy. Runciman's structure guides readers through 2 centuries of conflict, making the complex history accessible. He masterfully balances sweeping events with intimate human stories. The trilogy's organization allows readers to see the Crusades not as isolated battles, but as a continuous, evolving drama. By dividing the epic into distinct acts, Runciman ensures that each phase of the Crusades receives its due weight and context. This approach makes the sprawling history both manageable and memorable. Runciman's structure is a model for how to tell a vast, complicated story with clarity and impact. It's a blueprint that has influenced countless historians since. Through this careful design, Runciman's history remains both epic and deeply human. The First Crusade erupts as a torrent of faith and violence. Runciman sets the stage in a poor, violent, and deeply religious Europe, where holy war is just taking shape. Pope Urban II's call at Clermont in 1095 ignites a movement promising salvation and adventure. The chaotic People's Crusade, led by Peter the Hermit, ends in disaster. The Prince's Crusade, led by nobles, faces rivalry, starvation, and constant attack. The siege of Antioch is a desperate ordeal, lifted by the Holy Lance's discovery. The final march on Jerusalem ends in a brutal sack, a triumph shadowed by tragedy. After the First Crusade, the Crusaders founded fragile states in the Middle East. Outremer. The Kingdom of Jerusalem was a tiny Christian enclave, always precarious, surrounded by powerful Muslim neighbors. European Franks ruled a diverse native population, building castles and trading with locals, but remained a separate minority. Defense was constant, with Templars and Hospitallers garrisoning mighty castles like Crac de Chevalier. Saladin, a brilliant leader, united Egypt and Syria, and his victory at Hattin led to Jerusalem's fall. Runciman's account ends somberly, the collapse of the Crusader dream and the human cost of empire. Runciman's trilogy is as much about cultural encounter as it is about war. The Crusades brought Latin Christendom, Byzantium, and the Islamic world into profound contact and conflict. Runciman, ever the Byzantinist, highlights the misunderstandings and betrayals that shape these relationships. The Crusaders, seen as dangerous barbarians by Byzantines, often threatened their supposed allies as much as their enemies. Yet, in the Crusader States, practical cooperation emerged. Frankish lords relied on local Christians, Muslims and Jews. Muslim doctors served Christian barons. Italian merchants traded luxury goods in bustling ports. Commerce enriched both East and West, blurring the lines of conflict. Still, religious fervor often led to brutality. The sack of Jerusalem in 1099, and later the infamous Fourth Crusade's sack of Constantinople in 1204. Runciman presents the latter as the ultimate betrayal, shattering Christian unity. His moral critique is clear. The Crusades, for all their cultural exchange, were ultimately acts of intolerance and destruction. They failed to secure the Holy Land, poisoned Christian-Muslim relations, and fatally weakened Byzantium. The benefits of contact were outweighed by the bitterness and devastation left behind. Runciman's conclusion is somber and thought-provoking. The Crusades, in his view, are a cautionary tale about the dangers of zealotry and the tragic costs of misunderstanding. His narrative challenges us to see beyond the myths of holy war. Runciman's work endures because it asks hard questions about faith, violence, and the limits of cultural exchange. In the end, his history is a meditation on the price of conflict. Runciman's greatest strength is his storytelling. He believed history should be as engaging as literature, dramatic, accessible, and vivid. His prose is clear and elegant, free of jargon, making centuries of history come alive. Runciman paints memorable portraits, the ambition of Bohemond, the piety of Godfrey, the cunning of Alexios, the nobility of Saladin. By focusing on personalities and motivations, he makes history immediate and personal. His panoramic view draws on Latin, Byzantine, Arabic and Hebrew sources, offering a rich, balanced picture. Runciman shows how the same event could look different to a French knight, a Byzantine courtier or a Damascus merchant. His breadth of vision gives the trilogy an epic quality. He builds suspense and drama, turning sieges and battles into gripping narratives. The fall of Jerusalem and the siege of Antioch read like tragedies. Runciman saw the Crusades as a great human drama, high ideals corrupted by weakness. His narrative power is why his work endures. It's not just history, it's a timeless story about faith, power, and the clash of civilizations. Runciman's trilogy remains a model of how to bring the past to life. Despite its strengths, Runciman's trilogy has faced criticism. Written over 70 years ago, some of his scholarship is now dated. New evidence and approaches, archaeology, social history, gender studies, have expanded our understanding of the Crusades. Runciman's deep sympathy for Byzantium and harsh view of the Crusaders reflect his own biases. He often portrays Byzantine emperors as wise and Crusader leaders as barbaric, sometimes going too far in his judgments. His famous condemnation of the Crusades as a long act of intolerance is seen by some as overly moralistic. Modern historians argue that we should understand the medieval mindset, not judge it by modern standards. Runciman's focus on grand narrative sometimes overlooks the experiences of ordinary people, peasants, women, common soldiers. Today's historians seek to recover these lost voices. Still, his narrative remains powerful, even if it's not the only way to tell the story. The trilogy is now a starting point, not the final word. Its value endures, but readers are reminded to approach it critically. Runciman's work is a brilliant, if imperfect, masterpiece. What is Runciman's legacy today? His trilogy remains one of the most influential works on the Crusades. For many, his history, The Crusades, its narrative power and style have shaped popular understanding for decades. Runciman changed the conversation, introducing Byzantine and Islamic perspectives and challenging the heroic image of the Crusaders. He forced readers to confront the brutality and complexity of the era. Modern scholarship has moved on, offering more nuanced views and new analytical tools. No academic relies solely on Runciman now, but his work is still required reading. It's a foundational text, brilliant, flawed, and deeply human. Runciman's trilogy is more than history, it's a meditation on faith, violence, and misunderstanding. Its themes are timeless, resonating in a world still grappling with religious conflict. He tells a cautionary tale about the dangers of certitude and intolerance. As a master storyteller, Runciman used the past to illuminate the present. His history will continue to inspire and challenge generations to come.